Om Shri Sai Ram. Offering my most grateful salutations at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagawan, Shri Sat Sai Baba. Dear viewers, brothers and sisters, it gives me a great pleasure and gratefulness that we are able to continue and bring you another episode of Sai Ram Katha. So let us begin this evening with our prayer, and I ask all of you to please join in. O Lord, take my love and let it flow in fullness of devotion to Thee. O Lord, take my hands and let them work incessantly for Thee. O Lord, take my soul and let it be merged in one with Thee. O Lord, take my mind and thoughts and let them be in tune with Thee. O Lord, take my everything and let me be an instrument to work for Thee. Om Shri Sai Ram. The Sai Ram Katha, personally to me, has been a very gratifying journey so far. It is like once Bhagawan said, only an avatar can tell you the story of an avatar. If not for Bhagawan Baba, we would not have had the privilege of looking at Lord Ram from this perspective that we do today. We would not have got glimpses into the divinity in human form. And we would not have even got the blessing of appreciating what we were blessed with. Even to get a glimpse into Bhagawan Baba's life, this Sai Ram Katha is helping us a lot. Because the more and more we learn about Lord Ram, we are able to appreciate and get little better understanding into this magnificent persona called Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. With humility and gratitude, we continue this journey of bringing you this beautiful saga of divine. Today our journey has taken us to a very crucial and most amazing intersection or interval of Ramayana, where the most sought of character, or most interesting, most revered, most lovable character of Ramayana is getting introduced. And that is our beloved Sri Hanuman. This character we have known from our stories, incarnation of Shiva, the epitome of devotion, bhakti, and a perfect example of servitude of the Master. He is also an incarnation or an epitome of Vashishta Advaita, that he has the ability to be a devotee and become God, one with the Lord, at the same simultaneous manner. This phenomena, today we are going to venture and look a little bit deeper into it. So let me welcome my brother Ranganath Raju into the discussion. Sai Ram, brother Raju.
Sai Ram, brother.
Welcome, and let's continue this beautiful journey. And our story has reached a spot, and we introduced last time, but I thought we can recap there. When Lord Ram, as per the instructions of Ma Shabri, is moving towards Rishimukh Parvat, and Sugriva, who was ever fearful of his brother, spots these two young, handsome men walking towards that mountain, but carrying weapons. So he gets a little scared, and he requests or commands his chief, Lord Hanuman, to go and inquire as to who they are. And following the orders, Hanuman goes to Ram. That interaction is very beautiful, even though officially and as per documentation, they are meeting for the first time. Hanuman and Ram are first time meeting. Officially, they don't know each other on a physical level. But here we find little bit of a difference, the way Hanuman inquires about Ram and how Ram introduces himself. Let me start by asking you to share your thoughts on that and tell us and sketch that picture for us, what it means for that.
Yes, brother. In fact, the way Swami writes also is so beautiful. So Hanuman accosts them and he inquires as to who they are and why they are moving. And the second line Swami adds when he's describing Rama is with a smile on the face. He says, Swami writes the line that with a smile on the face, Rama replies to Hanuman. It is so it is so relatable that we have seen often, and I kind of hear the story many times as a student and continue to hear. So one of the senior professors who had come to Swami for the first time in his initial years, so he was sitting in veranda. So he had come to Swami probably for the first time, and he had not much heard about Swami. So he observes Swami to be coming out of the interview room and beckoning devotees like this with his index finger. So he
Hmm.
assumes Swami to be a don, to be a gunda, and and finally that call also comes to him like that. And he observes that whenever Swami beckons, everybody rushes to Swami. He is in his mind is thinking how powerful this man should be, that he is actually calling someone index finger and everybody runs. And eventually his turn also comes in. Swami calls him with the in the same sign. This our person gets up and runs, and he involuntarily ends up running, and he realizes that he also ran. And as he approaches Swami, he realizes that Swami is reading his thoughts. But however, he ventures to ask, "Who are you? What kind of person are you?" So that professor describes very vividly. It seems it is the same. It is the smile that played on Swami's face, which was the most distinguishing feature of that day's conversation. It's as if Swami is speaking to him as if he knew him from ages, and that it's the same description that comes even here. Swami speaks to Hanuman, Rama is speaking to Hanuman as if they have been lifelong friends. Rama knew behind uh, that uh, Brahmanical appearance is a great devotee who has come from lifetimes to be with Rama, and here he is asking Rama with apparent ignorance, just acting on the commands of his leader as to who you are. And it is such a beautiful. Uh,
Raju, and I find there is another interesting feature that on the physical level, what we understand, in a way, the body consciousness that we are, so Hanuman represents that at this point of time, who does not know who Ram is, but his
yes.
heart acknowledges it. He is mesmerized by the form.
Hmm.
He does not know who are they, but his heart says you are something special because I am resonating with you. And that is why his language towards Ram is so polished, so dignified, and so full of respect, reverence, and devotion that Ram has to point out to Lakshman and say, look, the language he is using, the grammar he is using, the tone he is using, he has to be a very learned Jnani. No ordinary mortal can speak such a polished language. Whereas from Hanuman's perspective, we see that Hanuman was already mesmerized with Ram, but he did not know who he is. And I'm sure you can recall more such stories. Like for devotees, also, we have found many people when they seek Bhagawan for the first time, they have no clue why they start crying. We have no clue why we start smiling. Our laughter and crying gets mixed up in the first episode. and we have no idea why we are running behind Bhagwan.
Absolutely.
No, it is like we can't relate that our relationship is not new. The only I feel the difference is that because we are ignorant, so we don't know our actions. Whereas God knows, so He smiles and gives you that mischievous acknowledgement that you can't hide behind your garb of Brahmanism. I know who you are.
I remember, brother, in our when you say this, the smiles and cry, tears. In our 11th, when I joined for the first time, for me, Swami was like a great sadhu. He was great because he had a Benz car or a BMW car. So I saw this particular Russian lady. She continued to run. I think she was been in Parthi for quite some time. She was running behind
Yeah.
Swami's car, and one day she was crossing our lines as we were going for darshan. So one of my classmates asked her, "Auntie, why do you run?" So, so she, because we were told in hostel that we should not be running behind Swami's car. So we look at only in an indisciplined manner. So she turned back and said, "I don't know." I very clearly remember that answer. She said, "I don't know. I just, it's like as if the car is going and it pulls me." So I thought she is exaggerating, and we reach Mandir, and that is July 16th. Swami had spoken to me for the first time in my life. So I heard this answer from that lady, and we reached Mandir, and Swami came to me and he looked at me and said, "Very, very good boy." And as he said this, I started crying uncontrollably. It was like I was literally sobbing. I don't know why. And so to tie up the story, and then Swami spoke to me, gave me vibhuti. When Swami left, and we were returning hostel, and the same lady, somehow coincidence or whatever, she was again. She happened to be near Ganesh gate, and she asked me, "Why were you crying?" I said, "I don't know." That is when I realized that what she meant when she said, "I don't know." That's exactly like so beautifully you put it. We do not know why that happens. And there is that Kodai video where one of our brothers, he sings a beautiful song, and then he bursts into tears. And the first expression that Swami says is dukkam, dukkam. He emotionally Swami says, but the word he uses is dukkam, and other time he says it's anandam. So I have heard Swami telling one of the senior brothers where when you meet that supreme uh, ananda, the form crystallized form of ananda, it pours forth the suffering as well as the ananda within our heart. It pours forth to that ananda. That the only expression that man has is tears and uncontrollable smiles.
I think
Words can't capture it.
our human limitations is such that neither we have the language for it, nor we have expression for it. We don't know how to express bliss. And because we are not qualified, I would guess that when He bestows bliss on us, we are actually unable to hold it and sustain it. So
Right.
it is only that moment of His grace that we experience that supreme bliss, and then we get disturbed by that bliss because we are not ready. The patrita, that vessel is not ready. So it's such a beautiful thing. And you realize how Hanuman represented that. At the same time, he also represented how fast he can escalate. Because the moment Ram introduces himself, everything changes. So it is like instant. Can you imagine Bhagavan saying, I am Ram, I am Sai, and my heart did not know the word, but heart knew what Sai meant and acknowledges it. I wish we had that kind of frequency like Hanuman. And look at how Ram introduces himself. He never messes up, he never gives him kind of a roundabout answer or a half answer. He tells him the whole story of his in few lines. I am the son of Dashrath, and he is my younger brother. We are here at the command of my father, and my wife has been stolen, abducted by somebody. We are looking for her. And hence, I am here to meet Sugriva. See how it's like a one statement in which Ram knows he can trust him. Even Lakshman is kind of doubtful that, brother, it could be a Rakshasa. in the different form, because Lakshman has been always alert, that antennas are on for Lakshman. So he can never relax. As a servant of God, he's always alert that nothing wrong should happen to my brother. But here is Ram who knows, and he straight away says to Hanuman the whole introduction, isn't it? So you find
Absolutely.
that difference, right? That how Lakshman reacts, and last time we were discussing that how, as a student, we also reacted, right? If Bhagwan
Yes.
gives a chance to walk behind him.
And there is also another angle to this, brother, which Swami mentions in one of the discourses. Hanuman, as Swami describes in the first editorial of this series of Ram Katha, the inner significance of Ramayana, in which he compares Hanuman to courage, dhairyam.
Hmm.
And Swami says in one of the discourses, when do you have perfect courage? It is, he uses this example, when the form or the dehabhimana filled with a mistaken identity of the self, when it reaches the supreme self and it uh, sheds its dress, that is when you have unending and limitless courage. That's exactly what happens when Hanuman meets Rama.
Repeat,
Hanuman,
repeat again. Repeat this statement again.
when you shed, so say your mistaken identity is having the darshan of the supreme self, and in that moment when you realize that the supreme self is right in front of you, and you realize that you're actually not different from it, that you shed this identity of this individuality, this small identity, then your courage is limitless. Is
Okay, okay.
it is because,
Yes, yes.
yeah, you're identifying with the supreme self, and
Self.
that's exactly what we see happening with Hanuman. Hanuman goes, I mean, this is a very deep meaning situation that Valmiki writes, and Swami so beautifully describes, that Hanuman goes in a disguise, and it is very subtle way of telling us that when we approach the Lord with that disguise, that I am so and so, it's for it is it is such a wonderful thing that Hanuman had such great intellect that he could immediately connect. But unlike Hanuman, we tend to lose ourselves. But the minute he connects, he becomes the epitome of courage, as Swami describes. You see, from
See
then on,
here. Yeah, yes. Finish, finish, no problem.
no, I'm saying from then on, you look at the Hanuman before meeting Rama and after meeting Rama. Before meeting Rama, it is the same Hanuman who is actually running away from Vali. There is a poetic description of how they run away from Vali in one of the Telugu poets. It seems Vali chases them, and unable to keep up the speed of his brother, Sugriva requests that he should be lifted. So Hanuman is also not able to keep up the pace of Vali, so he literally holds Sugriva, puts him on his shoulders, and he begins to jump from mountain to mountain. And Vali is chasing them, and they both of them get tired, and they begin they pray to the wind god, his father, Hanuman's father, and then wind god begins to move. Eventually, they reach this hill. But it's a very significant pointer that the same Hanuman flies 100 yojanas after meeting Rama. Same Hanuman vanquishes all those hordes of Rakshas after meeting Rama. Yeah, it's a two different Hanumans actually. Before meeting Rama is a Hanuman, and after meeting Rama is another Hanuman. And this Hanuman is completely transformed. But actually, Swami says this is Rama reflecting through the form of monkey.
Beautiful. So when you go through further and you realize how Hanuman acknowledges Ram, that also raises a very beautiful perspective that on an apparent level they did not know each other. Hanuman did not meet Ram before, and Ram did not meet Hanuman. But the moment he says, I am Ram, Hanuman falls at his feet and says, forgive this innocent, foolish person. How could I not acknowledge my own beloved? And he falls at his feet, and Hanuman says loudly that. And I wonder about it, that how could Hanuman be waiting for Ram if he does not know Ram? How could he say that you are my Atma? if he was not aware of Ram. So Ramayana has this subtlety of depiction, that undercurrent. That's why I like Bhagawan's Atma Ramayana from that perspective also. That he presents that everybody in our inner core was divine and knew that, but they were forced to play a human role. And hence, a divinity like Hanuman was also bounded by that limitation. And Hanuman played that role perfectly. So, on one hand, we feel that Hanuman is meeting for the first time Lord Ram. On another hand, the way Hanuman can't control his emotions, he says, how could I not acknowledge you, my Atma? And that itself shows that they had already connection. So it is a very beautiful contradiction in the play, wherein you are seeing the humanity and the divinity merge and move, and it's beautiful. And then Hanuman formally says to Ram that, yes, Ram, I will be more than happy to take you to my king, Sugriva, who will be in turn indebted and grateful for your friendship, and he would do everything possible to help you in the search of Mother Sita. And Ram apparently accepts his words and willingly walks along with him. But Hanuman says, the mountain is high, why to trouble? Just come on me. And he carries Lakshman and Ram on his shoulders and jumps up or flies to the Rishimukh top, where they meet Sugriva. Do you want to say anything to this episode, this much episode?
Nothing much, brother. I mean, just that the
Okay.
intimacy is already developed, and Rama. It is also Swami writes that one line where Rama goes and hugs Hanuman after the
Yes.
relation.
Yes.
It is Rama
That is
has.
the. Yes. Yeah, please say that. Continue that. Say that.
I'm saying Rama has not done it many times prior in prayer interactions. Hanuman is one of the very few exceptions that Rama goes and hugs, and and as we all know, how Swami would react. I remember, like, there is one particular devotee who had distributed water in remote parts of the states of Andhra Pradesh. So he had done it on his as his personal sadhana service, and he would fill up 3 tankers of these 3 wheelers and get the water distributed. He had done it like 95 days as a sadhana, and he came to Parthi. So the particular state president was trying to introduce him, and as soon as Swami goes in front of him, the state president is trying to the particular representative trying to introduce him, but this devotee, he comes and he folds his hand like this, and Swami goes and literally almost holds him so dear. He's quite poor, but in spite of all his financial backwardness, he did all that seva. So he holds him like this, he holds his head, and he starts caressing it and says, I have been observing what kind of seva you're doing. And in that moment, the doubts of the people who are surrounding Swami, the inhibitions of people who are around, the apparent formalities, protocols, everything just dissolves. I think it's the same thing that happens even here. Lakshmana, if you imagine Lakshmana, this was the same person who was suspecting moments earlier, and now he begins to relish these two intimate God and devotee interactions, that he allows Rama to sit on the shoulders and fly. He does not say anything. In fact, he's more than happy that Hanuman has now come. We
So
see this.
now we'll introduce Sugriv to the discussion as Lord Ram with Hanuman and Lakshman meeting a new friend, Sugriv. So before that, let me bring in my other brother, Anil Kumar, to our discussion. Sai Ram bhai,
Karam sir.
you're on mute. Brother, you're on mute.
Sai Ram,
Sai Ram.
Sai
Karam.
Ram,
Sir.
Abhi Sai Ram Katha.
Karam sir.
So, so we have reached a discussion. We are still in the journey where Hanuman is carried Ram now to our Sugriv on the Rishimukh mountain. So now is a time when Hanuman introduces, so to say, Sri Ram to his king, master Sugriv. And Sugriv obviously is relieved that he's not finding any enemy. He has found a friend whom whom he was waiting, and he was hoping that now his problems would end, kind of. So this
Before
meeting,
before we move to that,
yes, Mr.
uh,
Raj.
just one small. As I was going through this uh, Hanuman's first meeting, Lord Rama, he
Yes.
goes in the form of. It's given in Valmiki Ramayana that he goes in the form of a bhikshu.
Oh, Brahmin we
Okay,
heard. Okay, huh?
not Brahmin, bhikshu. Okay, and in
Hmm.
Shiva Namas, no, in both Sahasranama and Shatanama, Bhikshu Swarupaya Namaha is a nama for Lord Shiva.
Beautiful.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting.
Beautiful, no? The
Yes.
correlation.
Okay, just for the other audience who are not from Indian background, bhikshu means the beggar,
Eh,
one who
eh,
asks for alms, one who
Yes.
lives on alms. Please carry on.
So, and we know Shirdi Baba Avatar also was a bhikshu,
He was a bhikshu.
right?
Yes.
Bhikshu Avatar, right? So clearly he showed. In fact, Swami also in one of the earlier, when I was a student, I heard Swami saying in the portico, I'm a beggar, Swami said. One day he came, after interview, he used to come and speak to students around. I was sitting there because I heard it personally. Swami said, I'm a beggar. We were all saying, Swami, what is this? And Swami said, nothing is on my name. Nothing belongs to me. You send food, I eat, I have the food. You allow me to live here, I live here. Right?
Uh,
So
oh,
beautiful it was, but then there was a deep meaning. Swami was trying to say, both from the perspective of absolute selflessness, from top to toe to the tip of the hair, Sam used to say very
oh,
often, right? And also that aspect of total detachment. And finally, now I'm realizing Swami was actually saying the Shiva Shakti Swarupa aspect. No, Swami was actually mentioning that we weren't, so means every word of Bhagavan. No, to understand we need to read so much, spend so much of time understanding, because everything had a scriptural connotation at the back. At that time, we were young. All attention was only at whether he has looked at us or not looked at us. Everything else was secondary. So here, I think now looking back, no, so that Bhikshu Swarupaya Namaha. So it is that Shiva meeting Narayana, right? So that is why while Hanuman goes in the form of Bhikshu, on one side it is to show that he has come to meet his Lord, the because Shiva and Narayana, it is Abheda Swarupa, right? And Narayana is waiting to meet the Shiva Swarupa. That is one aspect. Other aspect is because Sugriva tells him to go in a disguised form. He tells him, I am scared if you go in the form of a monkey, because they are men whom Vali has sent, they will hide their identity. So do not go in the form of a monkey, in the Vanara form. Go in the form of in a changed form. So then he goes in the form of a bhikshu. How beautiful it is, no? Really. So every step, there's so much
Beautiful.
of deep meaning behind. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
actually made me speechless because I recall. I'm sure you all must recall that when I think Whitefield, some construction was supposed to happen, and there was some financial weight,
Yeah, yeah.
and
That was
Bhagavan,
the hospital time.
hospital, right? And he
And
leased his whole
yeah,
Vrindavan,
Try
and
and Whitefield
everybody.
College, the whole Whitefield campus. We used to see that board for a while there, that this is leased out to the bank.
Can you imagine Trey Vrindavan being leased? And
Yeah.
Swami said, "This is the only thing which I have in my name, so I can do that. I cannot do any other property." It was such an embarrassment, Michael. But what a lesson to learn, eh? What a lesson to learn.
No, this is what, in fact, Ratan Lal Amma used to tell once initially, when one of the experiences that she was narrating, I was so fascinated and so touched by the experience. It seems initially when she first started going to Bhagwan, in Vrindavan, Swami used to wait for the lunch used to be sent from city. At that time, Vrindavan to city was a long distance. Travel was 20 plus kilometers, right? And it seems the carrier used to come one day at 11, another day at 1 o'clock, sometimes at 2, and Bhagwan is to wait. Never even complain that there's no time for the lunch uh, box to come, right? Devotees used to send at different times. That was when she prayed to Bhagwan. Bhagwan, we need to, you should have one, allow us to have a kitchen inside the bungalow
Oh my
so that
God.
we can cook something here.
Oh my
Swami said, no, 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 I'm fine. He was actually not willing to. Then finally she kept insisting. Then Swami said, okay. That is how kitchen with inside the bungalow started. Imagine
oh my God.
how
Oh my God.
selfish one was. That's same
Oh
is
my.
with Lord Rama when we see he never complained, right? All through the stay in the forest, he never complained what food he was getting, whether he was getting food or not, right?
Absolutely.
That's amazing, really. Similarities are so much.
Actually, we only see one side of the Rama's journey, but other side on a physical level, as you were
Yeah,
saying the other day, the golden chariot. I think it's just that mind was running. My mind was running all around. What would have been? I mean, he was walking barefoot.
yeah,
He was, and there were instances where there was the food wasn't available for almost like two
yeah.
three days,
2 3 days.
and no water, and it was hot, no place to stay, and amidst all this his wife is kidnapped, and then
Yes.
my
Oh my.
god, yet you don't hear him
At a
complain.
physical level, it's so much of suffering, right? Both for Rama and for Mother Sita.
Yes, yeah.
Anil bhai, you have touched a very very sensitive chord. But it is. I think it's good for us to know how our Lord lived on a
Yeah.
physical level. It is very important of a learning
No,
that
this is something which
God.
has gone deep. Means, that conversation, that Podgo conversation was something which really touched me. Swami came out one day and said, I'm a beggar. That statement I still can't forget. But then on one side is the human aspect of it, how nothing, actually, literally nothing was on his name per se. Trust had it fine, trust has it even now. Nothing was on his name per se. We never live our life like that, right? We have number of things on our name, right? So amazing, really. What a lesson. And
What a lesson. What a lesson.
on a divine level, he was saying, "I am the eternal Bhikshu," right? The Lord Shiva, the Parameshwara, who is eternal Bhikshu to Mother Annapurna. He takes from Annapurna, gives it to the rest of the world. That taking also is for giving purpose. Because in
Oh,
Shirdi Satcharitra, no, we read that Bhagavan is to go for begging. Shirdi Baba is to
oh,
go for begging, come back with the begging bowl and leave it open for everyone to take, also for the cats and dogs to eat. So he was not begging for himself. That also, so the bhikshu aspect also is not for himself. It's uh, it's a different,
oh,
and same thing we see even with Lord Hanuman. He didn't do
oh my.
any activity for himself.
Oh
Everything
my.
was in the service of Lord Rama. So when he said, when he went in the form of a bhikshu, he already conveyed, "Here I am in your service."
Wow. Wow. I
Beautiful.
never, in planning this program, I never thought that we can learn so much from just the meeting part of it. Right? Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, let's proceed further. Otherwise, we get, I am getting emotional on that. So, Bhagwan now meets Ram and, Sugriva and Ram has meet. And now there is a beautiful friendship which takes into place. And it's very important, I think, to highlight and to understand that the way Ram and Sugriva's friendship was solemnized. Because we have seen in Ram's story also, in Bhagwan Ram's story, there are many people who become Ram's friend, quite a few. But the way Ram, Sri Ram and Sugriv have become friends, and the way their friendship was solemnized with the ritual of fire as a witness was a unique act. Please share your thoughts as to why do you think or how we should look at it and understand this.
Yes. But before that, I just like to make add one point. I
Yeah,
was this morning and 2 days ago, I was going through some of the interviews of old devotees, senior devotees. So I had this thought always. I mean, you look at all those characters when Lord enters into their lives, they have been prepared, and strangely, all of them are prepared through suffering. So, for example, the case of Pandavas. Pandavas were doing Vanavas, and it took a lot of time for me to understand that actually was a preparation time for them, because when they lose that dice, they are being sent to the forest, and Krishna and Balrama learn of this news, and they come, and then they tell Dharmaja and others that let's go and fight. And it is that point Dharmaja teaches Krishna as to what Dharma is, and he tells him many aspects of Dharma and says we should not fight and all that. And after 14 years, after 13 years of that incognito living, it is the same Dharmaja who, before the war, who prays to Krishna that you are our charioteer, please lead. You know what is right, what is wrong. I surrender myself to. Because why I'm saying that is this was the preparation time for them. This literally those 13 years chiseled the five Pandavas into what they are. And same is the case with Sugriva. Here was Sugriva meeting Rama. He has been prepared, he has been chiseled. The Hard Rock Cafe founder was asking, he had a very bad childhood and an extremely painful childhood. So in one of the interviews, he's asked Swami, so why is it that I have been given this subjected to such painful childhood? And the answer which Swami gave was stunning. Swami tells him that suffering softened your heart, and now you're able to feel the suffering of so many uh, thousands of people. And and it is, we what we see here is the same thing. Sugriva, at one point Swami writes the line saying that Sugriva laments that both of our fates are similar. So Sugriva has been prepared through that suffering, and he has been ejected by Vali, he has been put lot of trials and tribulations, but actually with all those, his heart is now prepared for this meeting, the final meeting of accepting Rama into his life. Now he's made ready to receive Rama.
interesting perspectives. Really nice. Great.
Yes, sir,
Okay,
sir.
Yeah.
let's go forward and discuss about that
So
now. Anil, yeah.
Sugriva is a very unique relationship with Lord Rama, because we that the very famous shloka in while worshipping Lord Rama, we say Vaidehi Sahitam Suradrumatale Haime Mahamandape Madhye Pushpakamasane Manimaya Virasane Susthitam अग्रे वाचयति प्रभञ्जनसुते तत्त्वं मुनिभ्यः परं वाख्यान्तं भरतादिभिः परिवृतं रामं भजे श्यामलम् वामे भूमिसुता पुरश्च हनुमात् पश्चात् सुमित्रासुता शत्रुघ्नो भरतश्च पार्श्वदलयो वार्व्यादिकोणेषु च सुग्रीवश्च विभीषणश्च युवरात् तारासुतो जाम्बवान् मध्ये नीलसरोजकोमलरुचिं रामं भजे श्यामलम्.
Wow.
So, in the
Cool, Ram.
entourage of Lord Rama, in the entourage of Lord Rama, means when Lord Rama Pattabhishekam, when Lord Rama is seated along with Mother Sita, right? How were they seated? The whole thing is described in this poem, and we then go to that Rama who is seated with Sita on his left, Hanuman in the front, Lakshmana on his right, Bharata and Shatrughna on either side, Sugrivascha Vibhishanascha Yuvarat Tarasuto Jambavan. So Jambavan, Tarasuta, who is Angada, Vibhishana, and Sugriva. These four also join the three brothers and Hanuman along with Mother Sita. And in the middle, Neela Saroja Komala Ruchim Ramam Bade Shyamalam. The blue lotus like Lord Rama is seated in between all these personages. So Sugriva is has Vibhishana and Sugriva are very different from any other friends of Lord Rama. We say Guha also is a friend of Lord Rama, but then the position or the devotion that these two individuals, devotees, had with Rama was very, very, very different, and because of which they are described along with Lord Rama, and we bow to all of them. We think of all of them and we go to all of them, right? So that is the status of Sugriva. We need to understand Sugriva is a devotee who is worshipped along with Lord Rama, right? So
You really got Sugriva, Sugriva up to a very big level.
yeah, it is. He
but,
is. But then
but
when we
isn't
look
it?
at it, yeah, when we look at it, it is quite like last time we described. It's quite intriguing. We cannot explain the ways of the Lord. Very, very, because he initially doubts Lord Rama. Doubts in the sense he's so afraid and he's so convinced of Vali's strength, prowess, that he doesn't believe anybody else can be stronger than Vali. That is the kind of belief and fear that he had of Vali, right? So he doesn't accept Lord Rama right away, in spite of Hanuman coming and telling, "Here are the best among the men," and the two brothers. When he first sees them, he says, "You look to be the ones who can rule all the three worlds. In your very form, you look to me as the two brothers who can rule all the three worlds. But yet you are wearing the cloth made up of bark. What? Why is it that you are in this form?" He asks. That's how he actually starts the conversation with Lord Rama. And in fact, the minute he sees, he doesn't hide his identity. Though he goes as a bhikshu, he says, "I am Hanuman." He starts off saying that I am Hanuman in his conversation with Lord Rama. He doesn't hide his identity. Very unusual, you know. He hides his identity. Hanuman doesn't tell his name even to Mother Sita. To Mother Sita, he says, "I am a Vanaroham Mahabhagam," he says. "I am just a Vanara, Duta of Lord Rama." He never, in the beginning, introduces himself, his name, his parents, nothing. Towards the later part, he tells, "I am Hanuman, I am the son of Anjani." He doesn't tell that to even Mother Sita. But to Hanuman and, sorry, to Lord Rama and Lakshmana, when he sees them, he's so convinced because he knows who they are, right? So such Hanuman, after having recognized them, has gone back and told his king, who has the maximum amount of confidence and faith in what Lord Hanuman tells. He tells Sugriva, "Here are the ones whom you can have a friendship with. They will protect you." Sugriva still doesn't believe. Sugriva says, "Vali is too powerful. Are you really that powerful? Show me your prowess."
So
It is
no, that
after that,
before that,
see,
yeah,
the
before
actually
that
that
happens
good,
fire ritual. Before
yeah,
that happens fire ritual.
correct. Before that happens the fire ritual.
Fire ritual,
Fire ritual
yes.
is because Hanuman, in a sense, Hanuman insisted here they are the best friends for you. So then they go for that. Fire ritual is in my, and I don't know the deeper significance of it, but fire ritual, anything taken with fire as a witness. Fire is considered here as a witness, eternal witness.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
have taken a vow in the presence of a witness. It's so, and the witness that is chosen is an eternal witness, which is all the time there with us, right? So that is why a vow taken in front of the yajna kunda or the fire is considered to be forever, right?
But I find it really intriguing, because when I heard about that Bhagwan's interaction informally with the boys, that why did Ram had to go through these challenges? Like first the fire ritual, then he still didn't get convinced. So he said, "Are you really that powerful? Can handle Vali?" So he said, "Okay, take me a test." And then he says, Vali could penetrate the pierce through these five, trees. Can you do the same? And Ram picks up the bow and he shoots so hard that not only he pierces, he cuts the trees. And Bhagavan describes that the arrow carries the 5 trees and hits a
Seven,
rock mountain,
Seven trees.
seven,
seven
seven
trees.
trees, and hits on the way a rock mountain and breaks the mountain also. So it's not only piercing, but cutting the trees, hitting the rock, and breaking the mountain. Ram does it with one arrow. And then Vali is kind of okay. Sugriva says, ha, now I can trust that you can. But I think still he did not trust. But that is the beauty of it. That journey goes on. So it's a very intriguing, like why Ram allowed himself to go through that. And I understand Bhagavan mentioned was that it was because of Hanuman that Ram went through all of that. Look how much God can bend for a devotee. Because Ram's relationship is Hanuman, and for the sake of Hanuman, because Hanuman is bound by Sugriva, so he will do anything. And I think it's a mind-boggling thing to
Well,
comprehend.
just
Yes,
to add
Ravi.
a point, yeah, I thought just to before we elaborate on this Rama doing for Hanuman, in the initial, there is this one of my when I was in seventh class, sixth class, I had left my school bag in the so every day one auto used to drop us, three-wheeler auto driver used to drop us. So one day we were in a hurry and I left that school bag in the auto and the auto went away, and right behind was uh, uh, so I was basically, when the auto was moving away, it was literally my future, my whole world was actually dissolving right in front of my eyes. A 7 year seventh class boy, imagine, he's all his textbooks, notebooks, his tiffin box, everything is vanishing. And I was standing there and I was crying literally on the road. And now I realize it's actually convoy, but two three vehicles were passing. I raised my hand, and one of the middle vehicle, the big massive vehicle, stopped, and the person opened the road. He asked me what is the issue. I told him, sir, this auto fellow stole my books. He said, I should have told him that I forgot, but in that anguish I blabbered something. He made me sit. He said, don't worry. I told him, sir, I'll not be able to do this homework, and I'll not be able to attend the tuition also. He said, don't worry, I will tell them. So this person took me to the railway station. So we could not find the auto driver. So apparently the auto went to railway station. So we went to the railway station. He had two gunmen next to him. So both of them searched. Then he told me, don't worry. I was crying. But sir, tomorrow my headmaster will punish me, my class teacher will punish me, my tuition teacher will punish me. And then he got me he got me to my house and he dropped me. And before leaving, he said, don't worry, I will tell them. He said, are you, sir, are you so powerful? My headmaster is so and so. He's actually he's a very big man. He doesn't get usually scared. He said, don't worry, I am the minister for education of the state. Don't worry, nothing will happen to you. I was like, so, and in spite of that, I kept crying. And next day, when I went to the school, I was almost a celebrity. That people who were headmaster, whom I thought would punish me, was kind of holding me. So where I'm coming to is, to that 7 year old boy, to the seventh class old boy, the mightiest person that is ever seen was the headmaster. And cannot even grasp the greatness of the minister, the authority of the minister. And it is the same case, yeah. It's an anecdotal thing that I have used, but it is very similar to what Sugriva is undergoing. The mightiest person that Sugriva has seen in his life, he has vanquished everyone. Vali is no ordinary person. There's the Ravana, he holds Ravana in his tail and his armpit, and he takes bath in 7 oceans. Such is the mightiest character, Vali. And Swami also adds in the initial inner meaning of Ramayana that Viveka is represented by
Sugriva.
Sugriva. And Swami says in Prema, Swami says in 3 4 discourses that Viveka develops to, in fact, to Gandikot Subramanian Shastri Garu, Swami adds that how do you know what is the Sai Shura Vidmahe? When he says Vidmahe, how do you know? Basically, how does the discrimination develop? Shastra Pramana, then Swami says Rishi Pramana, and third is for Anubhava. But the composition that Swami gives is only 5% is Shastra Pramana, 5% is Rishi Pramana, 90% is Swanubhava. So Sugriva he is not going by the Shastra Pramana, that what is heard from people, or Rishi Pramana, that Hanuman is telling him all the 5 5%. He wants to experience because he represents the aspect of discrimination, that Viveka. He wants to see it with his own eyes. He doesn't want to go by someone else's words because the mightiest hero he has seen already, his brother who has battered Ravana pulp, and now these people apparently their wife is also taken away by that Ravana, and they are coming to Vali's kingdom. So he's not sure. If you look at the circumstances of Sugriva was in, and also the innate character of Sugriva being Viveka, I think we can only sympathize with him that he has tested Rama in many folds. And just to, as you have uh, as you have also mentioned that beautiful point of God waiting for his devotee, and like doing all sorts of menial things apparently for the sake of his devotee. I remember one very funny instance where Swami wanted to pick up one of the boys from the institute. uh, so Swami had come to institute, and this in fact this brother had only told me. So this brother of ours was in library. He was in the fourth floor of the library. So Swami drove down to Swami's car came to library. So Swami wanted to go up and call this boy. So Swami got down and nonchalantly he wanted to enter, and that is when he saw the board, and on the board it was written, "Only men in whites are allowed." He looked at his robe, he just and he stood waiting. So boys wanted to go up and inform this particular brother of ours that Swami has come for you. Please come down. Swami wanted no such formality or protocol. He just wanted everybody to wait. So this brother who was reading in the fourth floor, he realized after 15 minutes that imagine 15 minutes that entire the building has gone silent. Not as not a strand of hair is moving. So he realized that something is not right. So and he started suspecting that probably Swami would have come, and he peeped on, and to his horror, he saw all those people, the elders standing, and he came down rushing, and he saw Swami right in the just before the entrance, holding his hands and he's waiting patiently like that. And he came out, and Swami said, "I've been waiting for you. Come." And he took him and he made him the car. He made him sit in the car, and as they're going, he's asking, "Swami, you could have at least intimated." Swami said, "No, no, that men in whites are not allowed, so I don't want to come." One and second, at least you could have sent someone. So I don't want to trouble boys also. I am ready to wait for you. That is the extent to which God goes for his dear ones. And I think
Yes.
it's the same case with Hanuman.
No, it could
Oh
be even
God.
for Sugriva. See,
Yeah, yes.
why should we feel Lord Rama went only for Hanuman's sake?
Beautiful.
Sugriva
Yes.
also is very close to. See, Sugriva in our parlance is farm boy, right? Right? So whatever he does, see, in a sense, no, maybe it is just that the aspect of, see, there's one very beautiful aspect in avatars, which is the aspect of Krutagnyata. In fact, Mother Sita, whenever she described Rama, she uses the word Krutagnyascha. In any poem, anywhere you see Mother Sita describing Rama, while she uses all other adjectives for his valor and all that, Krutagnya word will 100% figure it while describing Rama. Even in fact, that very first description of Valmiki asking Narada, Dharmagnyascha Krutagnyascha, he starts off with Krutagnyata, and that is one quality which Lord Rama and Swami also. Swami, in fact, once he was
In a
he
way, we
called
can
us
describe it as a gratitude.
gratitude, yeah. And when he in once, in fact, when he earlier times, I think Abhimanyu, you remember, Swami used to call for work inside, sometimes upstairs also, for old clothes to be separated and all that. Before Dasara, all these things used to happen. And invariably after that, during the work also, Swami used to feed us with so many things, right? But after the work, no, invariably Swami used to create something and give. Either it could be a watch, it could be a bracelet, it could be a ring, something is to give. And in one such instance, Swami said, I don't
Wow.
I don't keep anything with me. Means, that Krutagnyata bhavam, no, nothing he takes, though he has actually given the energy for us to do everything and an opportunity to serve, but then pays back. And same thing could be with Sugriva, because Sugriva is the son of sun god. and Rama is born in the lineage of sun, Surya Vamsha, right? So maybe to pay back his gratitude to sun god, right? So Rama did not, he overlooked all the so-called limitations of Sugriva, right? Or there could be many other meanings, but this could be one of the things that there is a correlation between him being the son of sun god, and sun god being the Kula Devata as well as the initial progenitor of that full solar dynasty, right? Of which
You
Ikshvaku
know,
dynasty.
you just mentioned about this Kritagnata. I remember once in the room we were all doing that same work, as you're telling. And suddenly Bhagwan called all of us, and he went and sat on his chair and he called all of us. So one brother Jagdish used to be there, and he came. So we called him, Jagdish Chavla. And he called him and he said, Jagdish, he pointed out his uncle's name, and he said, he has reached me. So on the very outset, we could not figure out reached me means what happened here. And then suddenly it dawned on you that Swami is saying he's no more. And poor Jagdish went down to Swami and he said, Swami, I don't know. He said, how will you know? Just now he reached me. So I am telling you. So it is like, I am telling you, how will you know? So he was like, he had no expression also, poor fellow. He was just basically, looking, okay, Swami, what, he's just quiet. And then Bhagwan said, he's a very good soul. He reached me just now and not to worry. So he called Warden. Warden was standing there and he says, Warden, write a telegram. And Bhagwan dictated the telegram to Jagdish's father, to give him a telegram as a blessing that so and so has reached me, my blessings, not to worry, be happy and do whatever. Like short telegram, Swami dictated, he made a note of it, and Bhagwan got up from the chair and he went into his room, the inner one. And then from there, he came with an envelope. I'm telling you what it was, it must be around mid 80s.
Yeah.
And Bhagwan came out, he had some 300-400 rupees. And he showed it to Warden and he said, this is the money for telegram. So telegram would have costed him nothing, it is half the money. But that time, and Warden tried to tell him that Swami, it's okay. He said, no, this is my job I'm asking you to do. So you take. And he gave him that. And then while sitting back on the chair, he said, see, I keep nothing.
Really?
I keep nothing. He did like that. And it was sank in me that time very much. And now when you're saying to, and I just recall that literally Bhagavan keeps nothing.
Nothing.
If you do something not only for him, but in his name, if you do it to his devotees, he even pays that back.
Correct.
If somebody says, I'm serving this devotee in the name of Sai, then be assured that Sai will take care of you. And it is a very unfortunate but sad, think like
Sometimes,
that.
sometimes it's little when I sit back and think, no, it's little hurt. That day also we felt very bad. I
Yeah,
felt very bad because see, we want that relation to be there forever. All kinds
ever.
of peace to be we should continue with Bhagwan forever, right? But Bhagwan on the other hand says, I don't keep anything with me.
And
Anything.
just
Very
one more story comes to my mind. One of our senior had told me this. So he was tasked with renovating a lot of temples, and usually when the temples get renovated, he would come and seek Swami's blessing, and seek a particular name to be given to the particular temple for which the work is done. So one particular interior parts of the Tamil Nadu, one particular temple was renovated, and they had not even known about that existence of the temple. It was very mysterious circumstances Swami indicated, and then they renovated it. So the work was done. They come to Swami seeking a name, and they're expecting that Swami would give some the usual like the name of, say, for example, he had given that Chennakeshwara, which the popular names which are known of Shiva or Maheshwara or Rudra, like that, which are popular names that are known. And then Swami, apparently he was not happy with the selection of names, so he gave an obscure name which does not even mean Shiva. So they were wondering why this particular senior devotee, he cannot tell Swami that Swami, this is an obscure name, it takes a lot of effort for devotees to remember. The intention of naming the temples is devotees can easily recollect
Yeah.
it, and it becomes part of the local culture. Now they can't tell that to Swami, but Swami is insistent that this name be kept. So they go and then they are making efforts to put up that board. So this person, the senior devotee, wanted to find out as to why this, is there any significance for this name. And he was having this discussion. His, in fact, his team members are having discussion with various uh, uh, heads of that particular village. And one old man, old lady and couple, their eyes lit up when this name was said. He said, "How did you get this name? How did you get this thought of marking this temple in this particular name?" They said, "No, they did not reveal that Swami had told them. They said, our boss has told us to name this." So
Boss.
then she started narrating their grandmother had told them that this particular temple was Swayambhu of Shivas, Swayambhu, which has been existing for hundreds of years. Around 1600s, there used to be a priest who would every day would do abhishekam to this Shivalinga. And one particular, he has become old. One particular day he had done abhishekam, and since the floor was wet, he had done Abhishekam, he was crossing and he slipped, and he fell on right on that ledge, and
Lingam.
it cracked, it had cracked. And the last thought was, Lord, I am leaving this body. Who will now do Abhishekam for you?
Oh,
Now, people will not even know this story, apparently. So, and the people will not even know that I am actually dying, and that someone has to do Abhishekam for you. In fact, they would leave this lingam unattended for years to come, because a dead body is kind of heaping on the lingam. So he was crying and he leaves the body, and she says, this that name is the particular name of that particular priest, the name which you are putting for the temple. And now this entire thing becomes clear to this our senior devotee. He comes to Parthi. They've erected the name, and they come to Swami. And even before the conversation starts, Swami begins to takes over the conversation and says, "In honor and gratitude of that devotee, I wanted you to name this temple. I did not want to tell you this." And he was stunned. 400 to 500 years have passed by, but the Lord's memory has been waiting for someone to renovate the temple and name that in that particular devotee's name. That is the gratitude of the Lord.
Amazing.
beautiful.
Beautiful, beautiful, really.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So, so thrilling, really.
Lovely. Okay, let's continue our story forward. It's difficult to keep the track. Okay, and I wanted to, before this time when Ram would ask for why he's here, but then he inquires from Sugriv. Let's go to that story first, and we can come back about his story. And he'd ask him formally to introduce himself and tell. And there Sugriv tells about his story. So I'm really going to sketch a quick story about that. It seems in beginning Brahma, Manasputra, he created one Manasputra who was called Ruksharaja, and he was a mighty person, a very mighty, so powerful that became pride on him, and because of which he started doing destructive activities, and he literally made hell. And but he was instructed that he should actually save the area from Rakshasas and protect. So one day it seems, the story goes, that he was at a lake and he saw his image there. And while seeing the image, he felt that there is somebody in the lake, and he jumped into the lake. And I believe that lake to be a Manas Leka, and he jumped into that lake, and he was transformed into a female. And which female, when prayed, by the grace of Surya, got a son called, Sugriv, and by Indra, she got a son called Vali. So that's how Sugriv and Vali were born. So they were the child of the Manasputra called Ruksharaja. And Brahma instructed these two brothers to establish a kingdom in Kishkinda, and he told that you will and should support the next avataric mission of Lord Ram, and guided them to be a friend of Rama. So that was a kind of an instruction given to them, and that is how Vali and Sugriva were born. How do you look at this story, Brother Anil? It's very interesting. It's the
Very
birth
interesting.
of Vali and Sugriva.
Very interesting, actually. Very fascinating. It's, I think it's very symbolic. It's more than literal meaning. There's a lot of symbolism, I think, involved. Vriksharaj obviously means nature, right? Nature in its masculine form, later on
Pinnacle.
getting converted, pinnacle of masculine form, later on getting converted into the feminine form, right? With the effect of Manasa Sarovar, you said. So, effect of mind led to the creation to give rise to two children. One who is the son of sun god, who stands for Vijnana and
Vivek.
therefore Viveka. The other who is the son of Indra. Actually, Indra means one who has conquered the senses. But
Senses.
however, being born out of the senses, Vali is stands for Aviveka. So I think the creation in with the play of mind in it got it lost its identity of Purusha, took on a new identity of Prakriti, right? And then gave birth to Viveka and Aviveka. Possibly it is this. I've just
In fact, I
feel
agree with you. In fact, I was thinking Ruksharaj to be like a seed element, which comes
yeah,
in contact with the nature element, the manas, the mana, and then transforms into the creation. Beautifully said, brother.
yeah. Because manas actually manuyeva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo, right? Everything is actually, there's even scientifically there's nothing out there. It's all creation of
Energy.
the mind which creates the world. There's actually nothing, really speaking, there's nothing out there. Even scientifically, if you go, no, there's every reaction we now know happens at femtosecond scale. Femtosecond
What is
means
that?
femtosecond. Femtosecond scale means 10 to the power of minus 15th of a second.
Wow.
Okay. What it means, I'll give you an analogy so you will understand what it means. In a minute, in a second, the light travels 3 lakh kilometers, right? That is roughly the circumference of the earth. So in a second, you release light here. Within second gets over, it has traveled and come back to the same place, going around the earth, right? That is a second. You know what's a femtosecond? You release light at one end of the amoeba. Amoeba is a unicellular organism. Before the light reaches, hits the other end of the amoebic cell, femtosecond is over.
Oh my God.
Understand? At what the time scale? And
Oh,
chemical reactions happen at this time scale. At this time
wow.
scale, reaction. That is the reason why we feel everything is instantaneous. I'm speaking right now. A thought is coming in my mind. Thought gets converted into the physical neuropeptides, which then activate the vocal cords, and the vocal cords function. Sound comes out. All the muscles function here. Sound comes out. We feel the whole thing is happening instantaneously, because what God has done is He has kept our time frame or time reference time different from molecular world. Molecular world is at a femtosecond, it's going on at that speed. So we feel, for us it's instantaneous, right? Suppose we are able to go to the femtosecond level, it's all sequential. It happens one after that stepwise reactions happen, right? So the reason I'm telling you this is, so even before
So,
I
so we are
can,
in slow motion. So we
yeah,
are in
yeah,
slow motion.
yes. And the reason I'm telling you this is, now I was just trying to put through in a scientific way, trying to understand why is that
Wow.
mind is creating the world. Even before I can make an impression of what is there in front of me. Right now in front of me there's a screen, I'm seeing you both, right? My mind has already gone at that femtosecond scale and created this whole universe for me to imagine as a reality. You are understanding? There's nothing actually in front of me. In reality, what is there? Nothing is there, right? This whole energy, the whole dynamic energy that is out in front of me, mind, even before I can even start thinking. Sorry, some sound. 1 second. I'll have to close the door for a while. 1 second.
Okay.
Just
Okay. No.
to add to what Anil Kumar sir is saying, sir, just till you come back, I thought we can. There's an interesting book which is which is titled as "The Secret Life of Trees," the Hidden Life of Trees. Sorry, by Peter Wallen, and probably we should lay our hands on it. It's a beautiful read. It personally it opened like a new vistas of knowledge for me. In that, it describes uh, how many. So, for example, when we get hurt, instantly our eyes well up. Swami uses it many times, and our sensors send signals to the brain immediately. As sir is saying, it's femtosecond is the time. Now, they have done extensive research on trees, this Peter and his team. So they say that when the giraffes are eating the tree leaves, 25 to 30 meters around the trees, they have kept electrodes on the tree roots, and they have realized that the 25 to 30 meters around the trees, the leaves turn bitter. The taste changes, it turns bitter. They have realized that the trees are actually sending signals to all these plants around, saying that there are giraffes, they are attacking us, please be careful, they will come next to you. But what they also realize is the time taken is around 5 to 6 minutes. It is unlike us, it is not instantaneous. You get hurt and immediately your brain feels the pain and you start crying. And then they also realized that when the tree is dying, the signs of death are shown 5 years. So 5 years before. So what they've realized is it takes 5 years for the tree to die. Then incidentally, over a conversation with one of Indian sages, they realized they were revealed that since the tree lives for like 800 to 2000 years, on an average 600 to 800 years, the average span, the if you take the ratio of these 5 years in the 600 to 800 years, is actually almost equal to that reaction that happens to human body. As Alan Kumar says beautifully put, we are at a slow motion compared to the famous second, and probably trees are at farther lot more slow motion.
Yeah.
And Meher Baba, in his Voice of God books, he adds stones, metals, stones. There are much slower. Their reaction times are like years, because they live for so long that we're not able to see, and we feel they're lifeless.
Oh, interesting. Yes, brother Anil, complete your thought, please.
So therefore, the mind, it's mind which is creating everything. This is actually a reality. Because see, we say everything is of dual nature. In the sense, no, we say dual, but it could be many actually. Myriad varieties are there out there. Possibilities are immense, immense possibilities. There's only an energy which is there, right, which is moving that fast and creating for each one a specific reality, right? And this, so therefore, coming back to the story now, the Vriksharaj, who is actually created as a, an individual who should be um, as an individual, right, has to initiate the creation. So then he has to take the help, or he has to use the mind, the the deluding force, the prakriti. He has to get into it to become, to lose his own identity. He now becomes feminine. You said actually what it means is he has lost his own identity. What he was originally, he has forgotten, right? So
Correct.
so then he gives rise to the to this is what actually Swami says, no, that I separated myself from myself to love myself. This is what in Anandavalli it comes. So kamayata bahusyam praja yayeti shatapotapyata shatapastaptva idagum sarvamastujata yadidam kincha tachshrushtva tadevanupravishat tadanupravishya satyachyabhavat niruktancha niruktancha nilayanancha nilayanancha vijnanancha vijnanancha satyancha nrutancha satyamabhavat. He becomes all opposites. He creates so kamayat, he thinks so kamayat abahusyam, let me become many. And then what he does, he creates and he enters the creation. And once he enters the creation, he becomes everything. He becomes the positive and the negative, so called all duality. So the duality is Vali and Sugriva in this case, right? So
Beautiful.
the duality has been created, and actually we can see in this story, Sugriva has been very, very logical, and while with respect to accepting Lord Rama and those aspects, we may feel he has not been outright forthcoming like other devotees. All the same, he was constantly on the path of Dharma. That's one good thing that we should observe in Sugriva's life. No matter what happened, see, he goes very dutifully with his brother. He sees the blood flowing out, waits for a long time, now gets worried that Dundibi would have killed Vali, right? And if he comes out, what will happen to the kingdom? Because if Vali himself has died, he cannot defend, and his kingdom and all his subjects will get affected. So he puts a big stone to protect actually the kingdom, right? Not to protect himself. And what is told is that he actually does the tarpanas also there only, thinking
Hmm.
that his brother has gone away because he's so convinced. Then comes to the kingdom, doesn't tell anybody that Vali has passed away. Ministers insist that the kingdom cannot be without a ruler, and therefore you take on the throne. So he sits, but when Vali comes back, he's the first one to come down from the throne and fall at his feet and say, a mistake has happened because I thought this is what has happened, brother. Here is your crown, wear it and start ruling. So he never says, I will continue to rule. It's Vali out of his aviveka and anger and ego, right? He does not understand the righteous path that his brother was taking, and he banishes him, right? So that is one quality that we should see. Why did Lord Rama go out in search of Sugriva, and why is it that so many people guided Lord Rama to go to Sugriva, right? Whether it be, in fact, one very unusual thought actually, the whole Ramayana takes another turn, especially in the search of Mother Sita. Once Lord Rama, like last time we discussed, went to the hermitage of Matanga Rishi and meets Shabari, right? Matanga, another word meaning of Matanga is elephant. So is it that Lord Vinayaka, right, initiated and removed the obstacles for search of Sita? There's an element of Lord Vinayaka coming in because Matanga means actually elephant. So
Matangavadana.
is
Yes.
right, Matangavadana we sing, right? So it is could be that Lord Vinayak from there on the obstacles are removed for Ramas and Sita as in search of Sita and finding Sita. So that's aside. We are going back again. So
No, see, the
Sugriva,
story of
therefore,
Vali and Sugriva's animosity is very interesting also. As you mentioned the story, the beauty is that they fight Mayavi, the son of Maya. So imagine you're fighting Maya and Maya's son Mayavi.
correct.
And they are fighting. He said, wait for me for 15 days. But in 13 days, they kill him. It's like the whole 13-day period. But fighting Mayavi. And obviously, as you explained, how Sugriv misunderstands and does that. But look at the Aviveka part of Vali that you're
No,
mentioning,
Vali,
Vivek and Aviveka.
yeah, it
Vali,
seems Vali also was like Ravana.
yeah, that's why
In fact,
I'm
Hanuman, no,
enjoying that.
Hanuman, no, no, Hanuman when he meets Ravana in his court, he tells, "Don't you know your friend?"
Yeah.
He calls Vali his friend. You know why? Because both of them had similar attitude. Anything that they wanted to enjoy, they did not have second thoughts of, does it belong to me? Can I have it? Is it?
No, that is
Is
why
it?
I'm telling you, that is the attribute
They
of
used to just snatch
aviveka.
it. Yeah, they used to just snatch it. So
That
Vali
is
also
a
was like that. He used to also
yeah.
trouble people. It was not that Vali was he's troubling only Sugriva. He was troubling everyone. Whatever he wanted, he should have it. That was his attitude.
See, the Vali, that's why I agree that Vali represented that Aviveka part of it. So, because of which he did on a very spur of emotion and he remained with that emotion. And that is why he never paused to think that the brother who loved him so much, who was with him all the time, why would he do that? He never even had a conversation with Vali, Sugriv. He immediately presumed that Sugriv had bad intentions and wrong intentions. And in fact, Bhagawan even writes that Vali not only took control of the region, he instructed no one to support Sugriv. So imagine the aviveka part of a person that not only you don't want to learn what happened, what is the truth, but you are so instinctively driven that you do whatever you want to do and you believe in your instinct. And imagine the Vali's extreme when he even took away Sugriv's wife Tara.
Yeah.
And that I
Sugri's
Not
wife.
think was
not
Sugri's wife.
Roma. Roma.
Roma, sorry, Roma. And I think that was the end of the goodness of Bali, which after which Ram had the authority to now imbalance has come in.
But
And
that
that
choice
is
that Rama made, sir, sir, it's also we should also emphasize that the choice, that such a strong message Rama sends to everyone, that this was the same Vali who held Ravana in his armpit
Yes.
and guided him when his had Rama wanted, he could have approached
No,
Vali.
no. He tells that, in fact,
Yes,
Vali, when is on his last moments, he
last
tells
moment.
Rama, "Oh Rama, why did you even make friendship with Sugriva? Had you come to me, I would have brought Ravana here as a means bounded him and brought to him here and handed over Mother Sita to you." So the what this story actually shows is that means is as important as the goal, is it not? So at no point can we say because a goal being achieved is the right goal does not mean means can be anything. So means
Yes,
also have to be rightful.
and in fact, one of the poets, like I remember, Swami. So one of the senior Telugu poets, he had conceptualized this probably, and Swami acknowledges in a very beautiful manner, which I will describe. So the fact that Tara, if we see this scenario, three people, uh, rather two people suffer unwitting. One is Tara, second is Angada. Both of them, one loses husband and another loses father. So in this poetic imagination, it's as per also some of the old Ramayanic descriptions. Tara was the one who actually kind of misfeeds Vali into the intentions of Sugriva. So,
Mhm.
and that's the reason why Sugriva, when he takes throne, Vali suspects that this fellow, water my wife was feeding me till now, is right, and my her intentions proved to be right, and because Sugriva is sitting on the throne, now he's actually just putting up a show that he is repentant of the act of being the king after my return, and Angada, who lends his support to Vali in search of Sugriva. So, as Swami describes in one of the tribe discourse, the clipping is also there. Poor Draupadi tells it's not the one who actually, not alone the perpetrator of the sin, but the one who instigates it, the one who supports it, the one who watches it, the one who does it, and then one who remains calm. All those five suffer. And we see the similar suffering being heaped on all this. Tara becomes a widow. Angada becomes fatherless. And he's one of the ministers also killed later by Sugriva, which is a side story. So all the people who supported Wallace either silently or being an instigator, all of them end up suffering. And Rama has meted such a beautiful punishment to all these people without any discrimination. I mean, punishment, yes, to some, and it's a blessing to other.
there is another flavor to this story right now.
But
That
but
look,
then but then the karunya of Lord Rama is when Vali in his
Yes,
last
yeah,
moment,
and ours.
he prays to hands over Angada to Rama
yes, yes.
and
So
prays to
we'll come to that part. But I
I
want you
just
to,
connect it to the poem that we just now read. In
okay.
the Pattabhishekam, we Tara Sutta is also mentioned along with Sugriva. He's not left out by Rama. See, having given a word, that's the beauty of the Lord. He does not see, and also another thing that we see, in Lord Rama's life, once the punishment has been meted out, right? The person is no longer considered to be forever a wrongdoer,
Yes,
right?
true.
He is immediately then treated as an equal, a human being who has a potential to become divine. Like Swami used to, very often we observe this with Bhagawan. Some mistake used to happen. We used to go and say, Swami, tappai pendi manninchandi. Past is past. And after that, Swami used to never again raise that point. You know, once the correction has been done, Swami used to not say that day, that time back, like we all do. No, you treated like this, you behaved like that. No such remembrance used to be there in Bhagavan. It's over. You have learned your lesson. The wrong is done. Invariably, this was very common statement of Bhagavan, especially when interacting with um, be it hostel teachers, the university authorities, mandir authorities, and past is past. Forget the past. Right? Once we go and say, Swami, tappa అయిపోయింది మన్నించాలి. That's all enough. And after that, it's
For
gone.
him, yeah,
It's gone
Swami,
forever. Similar was
for
the
him, even
case
the,
with, yeah, similar was the case with Vali. Similar was the case with Ravana. No matter, once the the punishment has been meted out and it's over, it's over. The individual is again a potentially divine person, is what Lord looks at. Very,
we
very
have seen,
different, very
we,
difficult
we
to
have
attain
seen,
that.
Anil, we have seen Bhagwan not only for punishment, but even for goodness. Once reward is given, you forget and
Yeah, yeah.
move on. You can't
Yeah,
even go back and so for
very
him,
true.
everything is same. You know, you did something good, you got compliment, finished, move on. You did something wrong, you get punishment, you move on. So nothing stops him.
Yeah,
But look at another beautiful thing here, that how we look at as an event separate, but how destiny connects it. Like the story of Dundubi and fight with Vali, and how Vali throws the dead body of Dundubi, and which unfortunately falls in the ashram of our Rishi,
Matanga. Yeah,
Matanga Rishi. And then Matanga Rishi pronounces a curse if that vicious, sinful Vali approaches this hill or even cast his eye on this hill, may his head be broken in two. See, that curse actually became a boon for Sugriv and maybe a turning point for Ramayana story, a leading
correct.
stone for story. Otherwise, where would Vali meet Rama? So Matanga created an event, and Dundubi was anyway supposed to die. But look at how everything gets woven up in the divine mystery,
Yeah, yeah.
and every
Good.
story falls in its place, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. That is why, in fact, a very beautiful analogy you brought in, and a very beautiful, in fact, the one which is most intriguing in all our lives, which no scripture ever gives a clear understanding, is which karma, what is the outcome. Karma to outcome, Swami also used to say, it's very, very, very mysterious. Bad will be given bad, good will be given good, is the only rule. But how will it be meted out? Which life will it be meted out? What will be the circumstances? No one can predict. No one
Okay,
can predict. That is the beauty.
let us discuss about the Vali's and Sugriv's fight and Vali's end. Because this is a very interesting episode from that point of view, and Bhagwan has a very described it so beautifully that when Ram has proven his strength to Sugriv, Sugriv gets confidence that now the Lord will be behind me, so I can go and fight. And he goes and challenges
No,
Sorry, Vali.
before we go to the fight, one other thought. There are two
Yeah.
aspects to um, a devotee connecting to the Lord, right? One is Saranagati, that Prapannata, that last time we discussed, right? What Lakshmana stands for,
Lakshman.
Prapannata. So, which wherein we surrender, saying that Lord, you alone are our refuge, right? The other one is also a very, very important aspect, which is, oh Lord, I am yours. That belongingness, no? In fact, that is why Swami used to sing in that famous bhajan, Rama, Nenu Neevadanu, Rama Nato Matladu. Right? The reason is that's a very, very important second aspect of relationship with the Lord. One and both are absolutely essential for connecting with the Lord forever. Okay, and you see, Sugriva first said, "I am yours." Friendship came in first. Sharanagati came later. Okay, and Vibhishana, Sharanagati comes first. Friendship comes later. I am yours comes later. Right. So, but then both are absolutely essential for a devotee to forever link with the Lord. Right. That is the reason why friendship was solemnized in the presence of a fire, because that you are mine and I am yours relationship was built, which Swami did with us in various ways, right? That
Interesting.
relationship,
Very
that
nice. Very nice.
relationship is very, very, very essential to be
Right.
really connected to the Lord. Without the relationship, the rest doesn't follow. Yeah,
Very
thank you.
nice. Okay, let us go into that now fight, because when Sugriv now leaves to fight and challenges Vali, and obviously we know the story that Vali overpowers Sugriv, and Sugriv runs back and comes to Ram and he begs that, Ram, why did you support me? I was almost killed by him. And here Sri Ram makes a very beautiful observation. He says, Sugriv, you both look so alike. You are almost same. So I could not make out. And hence I didn't want to disturb. So when you look at from a humanistic perspective, he's saying, okay, you are twins, so I could not differentiate between the two. But when you read the statement which Bhagawan is writing, he says you are almost same. And I'm reminded that when Bhagawan used to meet people, I have seen a couple of examples where I'm sure you all would also have, that a person comes to Bhagawan apparently first time, and the person who has introduced him says, Swami, like my son-in-law is new to you, he doesn't know you. And here Swami is talking to him as if he knows him from ever, and he accepts, and everybody's surprised, like, how come Swami introduced, and whether this fellow is, he sometimes is an atheist, and Swami is cool about it. Because the definitions which we have in our mind of a devotee is very limited. Whereas for Ram, Sugriv and Vali, even though Vali never met Ram like Sugriv, Vali apparently did not wait for Ram, but for Ram, both were same. So for him, it was like, I can't differentiate. You are both my loving people. And how can I partially become partial towards one to another? And then he gives a garland to Sugriv, which creates the imbalance. So, how would you look at that? Can you call the garland as partiality or a change of dharma?
Mm,
Sir,
I
I would request you to. In fact, we had put up this drama recently, and it was Alkumar sir who had given a beautiful perspective. I realized that I erroneously misread our senior brother's interpretation of the incident, which he had quoted from a Trai session. Sir, I would request you to clarify. It
No,
was
you
a
go
very
ahead, go ahead,
revealing.
go ahead. Go ahead, go ahead.
So I will tell you first the popular, rather the derivation that the senior brother had narrated in Swami's presence, and Swami apparently kind of told him. It says both of them in the first scene, both of them were relying on their physical strength. Both Vali and the identity, the individual identities, they were fighting as Vali as fighting as Vali, Sugriva as fighting as Sugriva. Now, the phrase that Vali, so that's why Rama uses the phrase that both of you are appearing equal to me. The individual identity, they are coming from that individual sense of identities. Now, when Sugriva gets beaten and comes back and he says, "I do not have any strength to go now. I'm going as yours, on as someone belonging to you, Rama. I'm going." The minute he says, Rama puts that garland. It is apparently to differentiate, but it's also the fact that now he has won, he has become Rama's. He has given up his individual identity and become Rama's. Now he has that preeti of that protection and also the love of Rama, which imbalance, which tilts it in favor of Sugriva, and the war is won. Another beautiful aspect was given by Al Kumar sir. I would request him to
No, you
elaborate.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
And it's also so what this was the thing we have portrayed in our drama, and then Al Kumar sir had taken actually time to type out that entire analysis, and he sent it to me, which he was referring is that in the first instance there is no, and in fact this morning I was praying that Swami give me an indication, and in 11th chapter of Premavahini Swami beautifully adds that for getting Daivanugraha the Purusha Prayatna is also equally necessary. The first time when Sugriva goes, he just goes with that. There's no absolute Purusha Prayatna. He says, Rama will take care. Let me
Like,
just appear for the sake of appearance. And he gets beaten. Now, the second time when he goes, he has to give that Purusha Prayatna. And whatever little effort, he knows that Rama is there, but that effort, that individual Purusha Prayatna has to be done, which is put forth as his offering to Rama, and Rama does the rest. You take the first step, I'll take 100 steps towards you.
understand.
Rama has taken that 100 steps.
So that's
That
Yes, sir.
Purusha Prayatna,
Purusha
effort of a
Pratna.
human is a very tricky thing. It can lead to
Yes.
ego, it can lead to pride, yet it has to be done with dedication. So, Brother Anil,
It,
highlight something more on it.
So
It is such a
that's
tricky
where
situation.
no, that's tricky when we don't get see the act that has happened before. No, matters a lot, and what is that? He has got beaten up, right? So this is what we no, it's needed. You know why? This is what we see even in Gajendra Moksha. Till the Gajendra prays out, Lavakintayuledu Dhairyambu Vilolambaye, Pranavul, Thaul the Murchache, Tanodasan, Shramambayam, Nive Tappani Tapparam Verugan. Till that time, till the devotee realizes that it is not possible by me, it only you can save me, followed by Purusha Prayatna. It is a combination of I cannot do, but I should do my duty. See, you saw the beauty of how the mental, it's a change in attitude. I know very well I am not doing it, but I have to do with respect to the activity, physical act, I need to perform the best. But I know very well it is not possible through my this is what in fact Lord Hanuman brings out so beautifully. That is why he's divine. When he
Brother,
doesn't go back
just
and tell.
just translate one second. Just translate the word Purusha Prayatna for audience, people who are
Yeah.
not aware of
Yes.
Sanskrit Hindi.
Yeah,
Like,
Purusha Prayatna here means could be self effort. Simplest way to put it is self effort. The effort is absolutely essential, but with the knowledge that my effort alone will not yield the result. And the higher level of knowledge is that actually this effort also is being done by the divine within me, right? That's in fact Lord Hanuman never
yes.
says I have crossed the ocean. He says I've been the Rama strength has made me cross the ocean. And he's seeing Mother Sita. He says Mother Sita graced me to have her darshan. He never says I achieved it, right? So that is what, so that is the combination. See, so Sugriva got that knowledge that he has to put the self effort, but after having got beaten up, so he now knows deep within himself, every atom of his consciousness now realizes that I cannot be saved but for Rama, right? Nive Tappa, I do not have any other refuge, right? And then at the same time, he knows Lord Rama also will not take another step unless I put in the effort. So I will put in the effort, but I know very well I will be saved only and only by the strength and grace of Lord Rama. So
Well,
that
Anil, there is another flavor which I would like your input. Both of you can share that. When Ram proves his strength and Sugriv is ready to go fight again or all that, Sugriv feels rejuvenated because they say that all the hurt and the pain which he had received by Vali, by one
yeah,
touch of Rama, he
he
gets
sees the
cured.
divine strength of Lord Rama, yes, divinity
Divine
of
strength.
Lord.
So Sugriv feels that, oh, really, I have a divine behind me. So he starts showering praises to Rama. He starts praising that, oh Lord, you are truly God and all that, like we all have the habit, we all have done that mistakes. And Ram is totally cool about it. He said, I know what you're saying is all emotional. I think Swami uses a very different but I
Voice is
think it was
breaking.
similar. He said that I don't get okay. He said,
Swami used to call it as hysteria. Swami
that
used to call
this
it as
emotional
hysteria.
burst, hysteria,
Yeah. Very
hysteria,
often used to
that
say,
this is not
if
a
someone
real
used to
God,
start praising
but
Bhagavan,
because
Swami used to say hysteria. He was very difficult
hysteria.
with thoughts
Because he
sometimes.
says that this you are doing it because I have done something to you and you are happy. But tomorrow if I change, then you will also change. So it is not point. So and he would explain this part from the perspective of surrender, that it is a temporary surrender. It is not sharanagati or it is not even samarpana. It is temporary and it can change with circumstances. So anytime we get the feeling of sharanagati or surrender, samarpan, with a condition of gratification, then he says that is temporary and changeable. Isn't
Yeah.
that interesting lesson given? Please share your thoughts
Beautiful.
on that.
In fact, Swami's first definition in his letter to his brother has been that no of devotion. One who considers the praise and blame, the good and bad as equal is my devotee. As per my definition, that Telugu exactly Rangnath Raju could
మంచి చెడ్డలు కూడా సమంగా భావించుచుండుటే భక్తిన.
Bhaktina. So his definition has been very clear at that point itself. That this is the that's where it is a complete Sharanagati, right? I know it is you alone who will take care of me, and whatever is given to me is because of your love and grace, right? So this is in fact across Bhagavatam also we see this. Even Pandavas, be it Draupadi, only when they cry out Krishna, you alone have to save us, is when Krishna actually is to come in, right? That story of what is coming to my mind is the story of that Durvasa going for food when they were in the forest, right? You know that popular story.
Yes,
Durvasa, along
yes.
with his entourage of 10,000 disciples, goes to the to Dharmaraja for when they were in the forest, and they go invariably after the evening, means morning session of lunch is over. So then Draupadi goes and sees the vessel, and she's completely at loss. How do we feed Durvasa Muni and all his 10,000 disciples? Now, where can I get the food from? Because that was coming from the patra which Lord's son had given to Dharmaraja, right? Akshaya Patra. And once it is washed and clean, it no longer gives the food for that day. That day is it's completed. Then she cries out, "Oh Krishna, you alone have to now save us." And that's when Krishna comes, right? And the way he saves is again playful. So that aspect is beautiful, right? He then says, "I'm sure you would have left something. You wouldn't have washed properly. Give me the vessel." He
Yeah,
says, "No,
one.
no, no, it's never possible. I will never wash it." Swami gives beautifully in some of the discourses when Swami was describing. Swami used to say, Draupadi was so scrupulous and careful and is to maintain everything so perfectly. So she says it cannot be possible that I'll wash it in a half-hearted manner or in a dirty manner. He says, no, no, you get me the vessel. Let me have a look at it first. And then pulls out one small leaf, a small, from maybe some
I
item.
think
Then
one,
pulls out
I
a
think one grain of rice,
leaf,
one grain
leaf,
of rice was left in it.
and puts it in his mouth and says, I'm completely satiated, Draupadi, right? So it's that, this is a constant thing we see with the Lord. As long as we feel we can do, He allows us to uh, play our role, right?
So just
But
to add, sorry, go on.
yeah, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Just adding another incident, it's a beautiful incident which was shared by one of our senior brothers. He had, so in one of those probably your time Dasra Yajnam time, one of the scholars had given a talk where he describes uh, uh, Draupadi calling out to Krishna, and Krishna, she was being disrobed in the court, and Draupadi calling out to Krishna, and he says that Krishna is actually not turned up till he was called as Hridayanivasi. So this is a very Swami had also mentioned sometimes in discourses, and inside, so Swami has gone back and they were discussing this particular brother. His speech is one of those upcoming days. So Swami is he's seeking guidance from Swami, and invariably this conversation begins, and they are talking about this particular pandit's talk, and Swami kind of gives a disapproval to this boy, saying that it may not, it's not the whole case, whole scenario. Now he wants to ask Swami, but he cannot. He's like he dare not. So he's actually praying that Swami clarifies, and eventually Swami goes on to add, which all of us know, that she was holding that her sari, and suddenly when Swami is describing, this boy has that aha moment that, oh, probably till she left that Purusha, till she left her grip, Krishna had not come. Even then Swami was only not completely happy, but probably 50-60%. He said like somewhere there, and this boy was waiting as to what would be the complete answer. So then eventually Swami reveals that Draupadi had the thought that there's a doubt, that element of doubt, that if she leaves this grip, her modesty might be compromised. How can that ever be? When you rely on God, will he ever allow your modesty to be compromised? That stray of doubt, that which she is holding, it is not just Purusha Prayatna, it is also a complete absence of doubt,
Wow.
complete faith that nothing will happen to
Beautiful,
me. So
Lovely, lovely.
only then Krishna walked in. So we see
beautiful.
something similar even with Sugriva here.
And
And
also know that
story goes,
actually it also connects a beautiful thing. Just now we were discussing, no, that I am yours. That feeling, no. In fact,
Yeah.
Bhadrachala Rama says, Ram, nenu మీ వాడను అంటే ఇంకా భయమేమి, he says.
Ah.
Very next sentence he says, we are parivar of Rama, then where is the fear at all, he says, right? So Sugriva, second time when he was going, first time he was going as a friend of Rama, right? He was going as a king, prospective king of Kishkinda, right? Or the banished king of Kishkinda, right? And he was going with his own identities. He then, second time when he went, in his mind, because that garland is symbolic of that, what is remaining in his mind is that I belong to Rama. I belong to him. That belongingness is a very, 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 like Gopikas used to have that feeling of belongingness to Krishna.
let me take you back the discussion, because I know the stories can go on, but I need to be at timekeeping. So here, one more interesting thing happens, as you rightly were saying, that Sugriv and Vali, when they fight the second time, again Vali is overpowering Sugriv, and in exhaustion, Sugriv screams Ram, and Bhagavan beautifully explains that that is the call of a devotee, on which Ram responds and shoots an arrow straight into the proud heart of Vali, and Vali falls. But look at the interesting part, as you were mentioning Anil before, that for Bhagavan, that event is done, and immediately Ram comes out and grants Vali with his divine vision.
Yeah.
So imagine that act is done. And now the next phase starts. Vali, looking at Ram, sits up straight with an arrow in his heart. Imagine the power of a Vali. And this expression of joy on his face, at Ram. He's very happy. In fact, he forgets pain, but he questions Ram about his act. He said, "Why did you have to hide and kill me? Why couldn't you come in the front and I see you?" And there Ram explains, and I'm sure you can shed little quick light on that. And when Ram explains to him that I am come for establishing Dharma, and for that, how could I overlook your adharmic act? And then Ram kind of points it out that Vali, what have you done is adharmic. Not only trusting your brother, but his wife, which is like equivalent to your daughter, you have misbehaved. So he creates that. And the beauty is how Vali accepts everything in one go. And he is totally cleaned up. And he's very, very happy. And it's a very beautiful thing that the transformation of Vali is also instant, if I may
Yeah.
say. He doesn't take longer. And he immediately said, and then he imagined, I love this statement and I would like your thoughts. He says, I'm not a sinner. And Vali's last statement is, I'm not a sinner at all, for I have been floored by an arrow from the Lord's own hand. How could I pass my last moments looking on the face of divinity and listen to the sweet words of the Lord? So look at Vali's transformation. He says, I might have been wrong in the past, but now I am no longer. And I
Yeah.
think that is what qualified Vali to get Rama's vision and accept it. Isn't it beautiful? Like
It's
how
beautiful.
everything changes instantly.
Actually, that thread, no, last time you were mentioning, Ramayana is full of Lord Rama's love to give mukti, liberation to everyone, whomever he came across, right? In fact, when as an answer to Vali's thing, why is it that you have punished me like this? Lord Rama tells him towards after all this what you have explained, no, that you acted as a on instinct
Animal.
like an animal, and therefore I as a king can do the hunting. We hunt an animal, hiding
Of a
ourselves, so
bone, yeah.
that's how I hunted you down and all that. Towards the end, in the last part of the answer, he says, Vali, you have committed so many sins, right? And with my punishment being given to you with my arrow, I have relieved you of the consequences of all those sins, and now you're going to go get liberation. Is it a punishment or is it a blessing? Lord Rama asks him. So, where have I punished you? He says. Otherwise,
But,
actually, if you just
yeah,
continue that, no, otherwise, Vali could have gone through so many lives to, uh, to repay the karma and again create new karma and again get into that cycle, right? So it was an act of grace rather than an act of punishment.
punishment. But another aspect to it is, in fact, Ram says that since you are purified, I can give you life, your life back and make you
Bring back to
healthy. Right, Raju? And then Vali says, I don't want it. Share
he's
that.
Yeah,
almost in that instance he's almost equal to Sharabanga. Yes,
yeah,
Sharabanga had the tapas, and our man had other kind of tapas. And Vali is also no less. I mean, we have those instances where in the morning he would do Sandhya Vandana in the east,
yeah,
and in the evening he would jump to the other end of the globe and do Sandhya Vandana there. It's a great, probably for those whatever momentary bursts of anger and suspicion. If you take away those traces of bad moments, he's a great person. Great, I mean,
yeah, yeah,
he does. There are a lot of stories where in one of the instances he does abhisheka to Shiva jumping up into the sky. He reaches almost as high as Kailasa and he does abhisheka to Shiva and falls down. That was the great Vali that we're talking about. It's a powerful lesson to all
Wow.
of us that however mighty you are, if you if you lose your track, you will be punished.
even one hole in the pot
And
is enough to empty the water.
yes,
Beautiful,
yes,
yes.
certainly, sir. And look at the last statement of Vali, and Swami writes it as, don't want to miss this divine golden opportunity to die with your name on my lips, eyes having your darshan, ears listening to your divine words, oneness, full satisfaction, really, you know. And
Yeah.
then he calls his son and hands over. He says, Lord, he's my lust born son. Accept him as your love deserving son. So, what a handover, in a way, if you look at it, right?
And see Rama's grace and love. Once he has given that word, Angada is forever in the entourage of Lord Rama. Right?
Interesting.
Amazing, really.
In fact, just to recollect, sir, it is not only that avatar. One day, Swami was distributing sweets in to the primary school boys, and Swami was throwing chocolates. One boy, he was jumping, 3 year junior to me. He was jumping like quite fast, and he was holding almost. He was grabbing most of the chocolate. So Swami observed 3 4 times, and suddenly Swami shouted, "Hey, Angada, why are you doing this?" And so this boy he kind of froze, he stopped. But the fact is that same Angada now has come back even to this day. He has been following the
Awesome.
Lord.
Definitely. Form boys continue.
Really, really, really. But it is an interesting when I'm really telling you that, you know, more and more I listen to Ram Katha now. I'm actually, my understanding, I should not say even understanding, but my insight into Bhagawan Baba is improving,
Yeah.
really. Otherwise, you know, there are so many things that we took it for granted and we feel I have understood, I know. But now when you look at through Rama's eyes, then you realize, oh my God. See, there are so many dimensions to the avataric life, and nothing is out of place, and only a humble humility and, you know, as I say, Shraddha, you require to grasp these insights
Yeah.
and become aware of things. So even a person like Vali, even a person like Rakshasas, all that we have seen, they were highly evolved souls
Yeah.
to get an encounter with Ram. Otherwise, why would Ram kill them directly, you know? So you
Correct.
feel that, my God, you have to be extreme in every sense to encounter, and their transformation is instant.
See,
And it's so
because one thing, all of them were like Brother Raju was telling, they were following the Dharma. While they could be having some element of weaknesses in them, they were following, like Vali was doing regular Sandhya Vandanam, means praying to the Lord and connecting to the Lord within was a part of their lives. All of them, even Ravana, we see that, right? In fact, his last moment he thinks of Namah Shivaya, he says, right? So he's all the time with his Lord. So it's just that along with that, the weaknesses weren't conquered, and therefore they had to face the punishment part, right? But then that connect with the Lord comes. That's, I think this is the lesson which I am right now, Swami's grace I'm getting, is that every single act of worship or connecting to God is never left without the fruit being delivered. So it doesn't matter. That's where we say no. Even if we say Rama once, one Namam once, you are saved, because every effort of a human, of an individual, Jivatma, towards going to Paramatma, he is recognized, and the result handed over to that Jivatma. And therefore, actually, it gives us a lot of confidence, no? That okay, the weaknesses may be there with us, but every effort we put in, we are saved, right?
I think this story has got more flavors. I was thinking that we may finish this part of the story, but I guess we need to come back again
Yeah,
and look at, because the Tara's encounter with Ram is there, and then Vali, the Angada's performance is there, adoption, and Sugriv's coronation, and then of course Lakshman. So before we move forward, we have to come back and share those insights beautifully how Bhagavan has explained. So I think time is up, brothers, and thank you very much for this
thank you.
wonderful satsang. And if you have any final words before we close. Okay.
Namo
Sai Ram
Ramaya
Brother.
Lakshmanaya Daive Chatasya Jantarthajaya.
Thank you.
Moksha
Sai Ram to everybody, and very grateful to